Today I'm going to review my TrailMaster Challenger 150 Deluxe UTV. I've had it over 2 years now. My kids and I have put over 400 miles on it. Haven't really bothered to clean it up or clean it out, so it does look kind of used right now. We just drive it around our yard for the fun of it, and like I said, my kids are a little bit younger, so I bought this as their first UTV, kind of make sure that they like them. And I like the smaller one because it doesn't go very fast, which I don't need to go very fast around my yard. And for new riders, it's good to have a small one so that they can learn on it. Having said that, it is big enough that an adult or even two adults can fit in here and have a little bit of fun. This is the deluxe model. It costs about $300 more than the base model, and for that extra $300 you get the canvas top, the alloy wheels, the lights on the top. There's a windshield and also the mirrors. One thing I'll say about the mirrors, this one has popped out on me before, maybe from just bumping around when you're riding on rough ground. There's another mirror over here which I need to replace, but it broke when my niece was driving it too fast and turned too sharply, and it kind of rolled on its side, and the mirror took the brunt of that, and it kind of just broke. So that's not really the UTV's fault, but that's why I'm missing the mirror right now. All right, some of the other pros is the price. It was, last I checked, it was around $3,000, which is still thousands less than what you'd buy a Polaris for. So you might be able to see a good value there if you're on a budget. Not to mention, if it's for your kids, you might not want to go out and spend a fortune if you're not even sure how much your kids will be riding it or if they'll like it. One of the other pros is all the features it comes with. I kind of mentioned it has the lights, the turn signal, hazards, the horn, the speedometer, the fuel gauge, the odometer, and all these things help make it street legal in some areas that allow these to be driven out in public. Some of the cons: it's kind of cheaply made. I mentioned it, it's made in China. Probably the biggest thing I had to deal with was there's a bolt over here which holds the two suspension arms together, and it broke on me after about 200 miles. I'll just point it out to you. Here's the bottom of the bolt right there. It goes all the way through that assembly, and I had to go down to the local hardware store, and I made sure to get a better made bolt so that it wouldn't happen again. But probably the factory bolt must not have been very good quality, because the bolt on the other side broke on me also after another couple weeks. So that's one concern. All right, another thing I had to replace: the return spring on the throttle pedal. I had to replace it. It kind of broke, and again, that was something else I could just go down to the hardware store and buy, but it was another small headache to have to deal with. Let's see, here's the engine area from one side, but let me go around to the other. You can kind of see this is the air filter housing right here. I had to clean out the air filter. Anytime you drive around on dirt, you're gonna get your air filter dirty, and so it'll have to be cleaned. The air filter was a real pain to get access to and get out. I had to take this rear plastic bumper off, which has a lot of screws and bolts holding it on. And then you had to kind of get in here, and there's a lot of bolts, and it's attached, the air filter is attached to the carburetor, and there's a few little clamps holding some hoses on. So first time learning how to do it, I actually just gave up, but then I got more dedicated and made it happen, and it ran a lot better after I got that air filter cleaned out. But it's a little bit of a chore. It's not real easy access. So of course the air filter will have to be regularly cleaned out if you're driving around in dusty conditions. So it's maybe something to think about. Maybe another con, the canvas top is probably susceptible to getting torn. You can see right here there's already kind of a tear. But if you're going to drive through a bunch of trees and branches, it could probably, in theory, rip the canvas top. It's not a hard top like you get for the Polarises. I haven't seen hard tops available for this, but that's another one of my negatives. All right, so despite all the maintenance involved, I've kind of taken it with a grain of salt. Anything with an engine and moving parts will have issues. My neighbor has 2 Polarises, and he's had them in the shop several times, so it's not a matter of if it'll go in the shop, it's just a matter of when, or when it'll need maintenance. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take it for a drive around the yard. Alright, so expanding on a few things that I touched on earlier. It has a windshield. The windshield is removable. For the most part, I like having the windshield on there. It extends the season, so if it's 30 degrees outside, you're not driving around with a bunch of cold air hitting your face. It also, in the summer, can keep the bugs out from hitting you in the face. So you can opt to take the windshield off if you like the feeling of the wind in your hair. But it's definitely a nice feature to have. Back down underneath the hood, the engine, there are lots of upgrades for this engine online. If you want it to go a little faster, soup it up some. Again, I have it for my kids, and I feel it goes fast enough for their purposes, but it can be upgraded. It's a fairly common engine. based on a Honda engine, and there's lots of mods for it online. I just haven't wanted to do it yet. The top speed is about 25 miles an hour. I've gotten it up to 25, but it's been on a paved surface, and it's taken me a little bit of distance to get up to that top speed. Around the yard, I've gotten it up to about 20 miles an hour. I think I've touched on most everything I would like, but considering the price and value, I think I would recommend the Challenger 150 as an option for those who aren't into hardcore four-wheeling, but who need a starter UTV for their kids to drive around the house or the neighborhood. With all the options, it is street legal in some communities, so it could be a form of transportation. My kids will drive it over to their friend's house who lives in the neighborhood, and it kind of comes in handy for little short jaunts around the area. I might add to this video later on, might show you what it looks like driving at night, or if I think of anything else I need to add, I'll try to put that in later. But thanks for watching.